TheLead. I'm your host, Cody Johnson.
Who?
Obviously, I'm new to the channel. Some of y'all might know me from the Football Lone Star podcast I did a while back, probably a year ago or so now. Creating some content for TheLead with Harley, obviously. If y'all like the content, y'all can comment down below, see if y'all want to see some more, and I'll keep doing these videos. I'm going to give y'all 4 rounds here. My draft is based off the TDN mock draft simulator. But yeah, let's get into it. Third pick in the first round, I had the Texans draft Thibodeaux. Some of y'all are going to want an offensive lineman. Some of y'all don't like Thibodeaux's motor or his work ethic or stuff like that. For me, a lot of that work ethic stuff is more player fatigue. We've been talking about Thibodeaux as the top prospect in the draft for a couple of years now. So it seems like a lot of that stuff is just brought up to kind of give something to knock a player. I still think he's one of 3 guys that are arguably the best player in the draft. The other 2 were taken at this point. That's why I went Thibodeaux and not an offensive lineman like Neal or Ekim, because I think those guys are a slight bit below the other 3, that being Hamilton, Thibodeaux, and Hutchinson. So Thibodeaux, a guy that's gonna, obviously not kind of the Myles Garrett mold, but I think he's a guy that's going to be a really good defensive end for years to come in the league. An elite first step off the ball, good run defense, can win with power, with speed, stuff like that. He's obviously got to work on some more counter moves with his hands, something he didn't really have to do in college because he was just so fast and strong that a lot of tackles couldn't handle him straight up. So that stuff will come in the NFL. I think, like I said, I think he's the best player available at this point. I couldn't pass up on him. But next we get into the 13th pick in the first round, and I went cornerback Andrew Booth out of Clemson. So a lot of people aren't bringing him up in the vein of the Derek Stingley, the Ahmad Gardners. I think he's up there. He's personally my cornerback 1. I think he's got the same blend of athleticism as the top guys. He can play zone, he can play man. He did both at Clemson. One thing that he does very well that some of the other ones don't do is plays run defense very, very well. Triggers on the ball like crazy. His burst or his we'll just go with the word burst, but is absolutely crazy. The way he triggers the run defense, or he triggers on the wide receiver in the passing game, it's unmatched from the corners in this league, even from guys like Stingley, who are the same athleticism. But a guy that's very, very sticky in coverage. Like I said, can play man, can play corner zone. He's not going to be your best press man guy, but he can do it at a good enough level. I think would be a really good fit in Lovey's system to play that zone, but also, like I said, the run defense. That's something that's big in the Tampa 2, is being able to tackle, or even willing to tackle. So I went Andrew Booth. Really like the pick. Get 2 guys in this first round that could be cornerstones for your defense. So with that, we move on to the second round, and I went Tyler Smith, offensive lineman out of Tulsa. He's not going to be a household name per se, but a guy that I've heard a lot about more recently that's been just climbing boards. A guy that other opposing players from Power 5 programs have talked very well about. So he's a guy that played left tackle actually at Tulsa, but will be an interior offensive lineman in the NFL. He would probably be an interior offensive lineman in college if he went to a Power 5 program, but he was just by far the best offensive lineman Tulsa had, and they needed to protect their blind side of their quarterback, so they put him at left tackle, and he did fine. He's a powerful guy. He's really just the group of 5 version of Ikem Ekwonu, a guy that's going to be, he doesn't have the speed to hold up as a tackle in the NFL to what's the word I'm looking for, to hold these speed rushers. He'll be fine with power rushers because he's crazy strong himself, but moving him into guard where it's more strength, getting pad level than it is necessarily speed off the edge, I think is going to be really good for him. He's obviously got to work on some technical stuff. His hands could use a lot of work, but a guy that's going to be a mauler in the run game, and I think he'll be fine in the passing game as well. I really like Tyler Smith at pick 37. I think that would be a great pick. And then next, so I went at pick 68, John Metchi, wide receiver out of Alabama. Guy that was projected late first, early second before he had the injury, the ACL. Not sure if he'd be ready to start the season, but I don't think it would be too long after the season started that he'd be playing again. A guy that can fit right into your slot position, position that we have not had any luck with for years now, as Texas fans know. But he's not limited to the slot, which is a good thing. He's a guy that can play outside, has the speed to separate, has a variety of moves off the line to create separation off the line, and can do it in the route. Fast. We all know he's fast, deep threat kind of guy, but also shifty, not necessarily like Tyreek Hill shifty, but shifty enough to make guys miss, stuff like that on the underneath stuff. So in the third round, I feel like it's great value. Biggest knocks on him are probably that he's a body catcher. Caught too many balls in the body for my liking. A guy that, that translates into not going up and high pointing the ball as well. So that would be kind of a limiting factor on maybe some deep balls, stuff like that, one-on-ones. But I do really like that fit along with Cooks and Collins in the wide receiver position. All right, next at pick 80, I went tight end Isaiah Likely. Now I know some of us have some fatigue with drafting tight ends, but this is a guy that's I'm not going to say unanimously, but pretty highly thought of as the top tight end in this class, and he's another guy that didn't play in a Power 5, but he pretty much dominated in the conference he was in, right, at Coastal Carolina. So what my thing is, with drafting another tight end here, and possibly the best tight end in the class, is that this system that Pep is going to be running, this power gap running game system, requires quite a bit of two tight end sets. Another guy that I like is a guy that can line up Y in the Y position, the H-back, split out, can do all of it, but is also a willing blocker. Obviously, it's a different game when you're blocking Coastal Carolina opponents and then you're moving up to the NFL, but a willing blocker, that's what I want to see from tight ends, guys that are willing to block. The guys that aren't willing to block will probably never ever be good blockers because they're not willing. So that can be developed, but another guy that can create separation, can high point the ball. The tight end is 6'4", 260 pounds, I believe. So I do really like this pick. I think they're going to go tight end at some point. Like I was saying earlier, I know we have the tight end fatigue, but different regime, different scouts. I think we can finally get a guy to pair with, hopefully, Brevin Jordan for the long term at the tight end position. And then lastly, pick 108 in the fourth round, I went Brandon Smith, linebacker out of Penn State. Brandon Smith is a guy that early in the season was projected to go second round, kept falling. He didn't have as good a season in 2021 as he did in 2020, but he's an athletic freak, and I'm going to take a chance on the measurables athletic standpoint of this. At this point in the draft. So another guy that's like 6'3", he's got kind of a slim frame, probably be your will linebacker because of that. I don't think he's going to be a Mike. But like I said, athletic is how I've seen this guy run down running backs from 20 yards out. So wide receivers as well. Very, very athletic. Would be, like I said, the will in the system. A guy that's going to make the majority of your tackles. But yeah, Brandon Smith, I did really like him going into the draft process early in the season. But at this point, he's got a lot of development that's going to need to be worked on, obviously. But again, at this point, I'm not going to pass up on the measurables, the testing numbers, stuff like that. So hopefully, something that Lovey can mold into what he needs at the position. That's my mock draft, my 4-round mock draft. Again, if y'all like the content, let us know down below, and then me and Harley can work out some stuff and maybe creating more content for the channel. Appreciate y'all coming in, and y'all have a good one.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.